floor. Porzingis with the step back three, and yet you got a $20 million center in Luke Kornet. Jaylen Brown, full court sprint, fast breakdown, crowds lit. Derek White with the lockdown D. Every game feels like history. Highlights, reaction all season long. Your Celtics source with the intro song. Big takes, play-by-play and analysis. Sit back and relax, you don't wanna miss.
How many houses can 45 bricks build? Because that's what the Celtics shot last night. 15 for 60 on three-point attempts. What's up, everyone, and welcome into your Celtics source, home of your 0-1 Boston Celtics. It's been a while since the Celtics have been down 0-1 in a series. Back in 2023 against the Miami Heat, to be exact.
Yeah, well, we know how that ended up too. I hope we're looking for a different result here. I will say this about the bricks, though. 45 bricks builds a pretty big house, but I don't think all the huffing and puffing of the big bad wolf in New York is going to blow this house down. I'm still going to go hot take Celtics in 5.
Right off the bat, Celtics in 5. I have to think of that game as like you throw that game away and now you say Celtics in 5, which really makes it Celtics in 6. Because I think the Knicks get a normal win without some, basically unforeseen performance like that.
This is the way I view it. One, that was an absolute laid an egg game, right? Absolute turd of a game. And we were still winning until almost the very end. So yeah. I look at it, we shot bricks, Porzingis was out, foul trouble, like absolute disgusting game to watch. And still we were crushing the Knicks or close, ran up a 20-point lead. So we lost the game. They didn't win the game. I give Brunson credit. Shot lights out when it mattered, right? Like nasty threes. But like we had no business losing that game. And I don't think it happens again.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think, right? We'll go into all of this, but you think they make one more three and they win this game in regulation. It's still a terrible performance, and you're still coming out of this with a win, and you're like, how on earth did the Knicks not find a way to win this game? The only chance they had, and they blew it. But, the Knicks, they do get the win, and so...
Yeah. They should have won in regulation. Brunson missed that.
You can't miss that. You were lucky to win that in overtime. You played better in overtime. Yeah. But still, like, that is a shot he makes 99 out of 100 times.
Yeah.
That is
his. I think the best.
The
best coaches always say, you don't actually win or lose on the last shot. You win or lose in the game that gets you into the position where you might win or lose on the last shot, kind of a thing, right? If the Celtics are playing their game, they're winning. They're never in that position. Same with the Knicks. If the Knicks can play their game and against another team, they never get in that position where they have to go to overtime or something like that. So I think the Celtics actually lost that game long before regulation ended in overtime.
Yeah. I want to start by talking about Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown's performance, and then we can get into the defense for the Knicks because it was actually very different from the way they played throughout the entire season when they actually matched up in the regular season. All right. Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they combined for 14 for 43 on field goals.
That's as we say in Mexico, that's no bueno. Okay.
I'm looking at the box score here. Jayson Tatum shot 4-15 from 3, and Jaylen Brown shot 1 of 10 from 3.
Yeah. They couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat on threes. What I think is, I'll tell you for me, the most important thing to watch in that whole game, I think, I want to see what Tatum does tomorrow night. This was a old Tatum game. Kind of a roll. Like the box score doesn't tell the story of, we were watching that last 5 minutes and screaming at the TV, Tatum, take the shot, drive to the lane, and he kept passing the
That
ball.
last possession when he had Mitchell Robinson on him, the paint
Yeah,
wide open. All you have to do is swing.
yeah.
It can still
Go
end
to the
up in a
rim.
three. But
And
it can
he's been
still end
doing
up in a
that.
three as long as you get them to compress and then you kick it out.
Yeah, but he's been doing that all season. And so
Right.
my question is,
What
and
happened?
you saw the last game, against in the last series, right? So if you look at the last series against the Magic, right? You look at the last game, Tatum, total domination, gem of a game, one of his top 3 playoff games of all time. 5 days later, 6 days later, and we got this. And so that's the number one thing I want to watch. What are you going to do Wednesday night? Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan till they get punched in the face. Okay, you get punched in the face, you turtled up. Show us that you are that MVP caliber vote getter. That's what I want to see, because I really do think as Tatum goes, the Celtics go right now.
Mm-hmm. The Celtics, I think. Oh, first of all, they took 54 shots in the second half, I believe. 49 of them were threes.
Wow.
Second of all, Derek White shot 16 threes. I don't care that he would have the best percentage on the team. You cannot let Derek White, no matter how good he is, take 16 threes.
I don't know. I guess I'm more curious why you saw the formula against the physical Magic that they employed, which is gave up the 3. Not that they never shot it, but they went to the paint, right? They got points in close mid-range jumpers. And so the Knicks in foul trouble, not really good in the paint, not as physical as the Magic. Why are you jacking 649 threes if they're not falling? Why aren't you using your plan B, which works against the Magic, would have worked against the Knicks? They definitely would have fouled out Robinson at least, if not somebody else. You know what I mean? So maybe they would have fouled out Cat if they kept going at him. I don't know.
Well, I think some of those calls were just garbage calls on Cat in the first half. They were not. They were cheap calls, and he wouldn't have gotten those same whistle in the second half.
Yeah, maybe.
No, they're not trying to kick people out of the game in the playoffs.
No, for sure. But I still think the Knicks are undisciplined on defense. They foul a lot, and I think you should use that to your advantage.
Here's the funny thing, okay? The Knicks. So the Magic played. They switched everything last series. They guarded 1-on-1 to prevent threes, right?
Yep.
The Celtics shot almost no threes in that series.
Well,
right? Let alone make them. They couldn't even get shots off.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing. The Knicks did the same thing, and they weren't in the regular season. They weren't able to do it because they just didn't have the guys that could stay in front of them and be disciplined defense player. But they thought that they had no choice but to try and do it in this series. They did it. They switched everything. They guarded 1-on-1. They didn't double like they did all season, and yet the Celtics got off 50 open threes out of their 60 attempts. They were wide open.
Make them, though.
No, but that's not a thing. That's not because of their defense.
Yeah, I think that's
all
fair.
Open shots. Had they made even 6 of those, this is a blowout. 6 more of those. But
honestly,
tried to do it,
but this should have been a blowout. We're up 20. This should have been a blowout, right?
But we were up 20 without making a 3 because we didn't make them in the first half either.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing to watch too, and I know we all know this will be a factor, is there's only 5 people on the Knicks team, right? You're going to play, Brunson, you're going to play him 48 minutes a night. What's the plan here? That's going to catch up.
Mikal Bridges played 51 minutes out of 53 total minutes.
Yeah. You think he's tired today?
Yeah. If the Celtics, people are saying coming into the series that this was a matchup more about Tom Thibodeau than it was for the actual team. Because if the Celtics just absolutely obliterated the Knicks, people thought Tom Thibodeau was done. Because the way he plays, just basically people are saying he was stuck in his way and he wouldn't adapt to changes and whatever. But when you get the first win, it can change everything.
Yeah.
This was a game the Knicks had to have, because if they lost that, it would have been a swept for sure.
I mean,
You come
yeah,
in
we'll
off
see what happens.
motivation from that last game. Enough days off that you're not like tired or anything.
Yeah. If you told me the Pacers were going to beat the Cavs, I would be like, okay, I can see that, right? Like, I think the Cavs probably should win and are the better team, but I can see how Pacers can win, right? I can see how Nuggets can win, though I feel a little harder to see that. I don't see how the Knicks win this series.
Yeah.
If they do, it's one of the biggest upsets and collapses, like mismatches in like sports history. Maybe not.
Mhm.
Let's not overdo it, but like, I mean, this is not a contest, and so, you know,
Yeah, I agree. You look at here's what I found really interesting: the way Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson were able to guard Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown in this game. Right? The Celtics did the same thing that everyone knows. Everybody knows they're going to attack those two. That's what they're going to do every single possession. First of all, the Celtics waited way too long to get into those possessions, that by the time they even could get past them, there's not enough time to do a kick out or anything.
yeah.
Second of all, the Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns were able to stay in front of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They weren't able to get any clean shots in the paint, given all their threes were open, but
do you think
they couldn't find a way to score in the paint when they couldn't shoot from three? So I think, part of the problem in that second half was just Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown realizing we have to shoot our way out, because there's no way we're getting to the rim with the way those two are playing.
Do you think Luke Kornet's early foul trouble had anything to do with this? We know the pick and roll Tatum and Kornet is
Luke Kornet was playing so well in that first half, and then he got into foul trouble in that early
I think
third.
I think it's sort of an interesting, unnoticed angle here.
I think Kristaps Porzingis as well, going down at half. He's been terrible in these playoffs. Had an over tonight, but I just think he could have found some way to get a couple points here and there.
You saw I think he missed that shot or that dunk. He got his own putback, clean putback, missed that. Like, what do you think is going on with him? Because this is not the guy who played the last 15 games of the season, right?
No, they diagnosed it as a, in February. Remember that illness he had in February, March, as a respiratory thing. So maybe it's the same thing, and But
he came back and played outstanding ball.
That's true, yeah. So I don't know what it is. I would think the most common thing that comes to mind is like a stomach ache or something, that he just feels so bad he can't go out there and
a stomach bug or some kind of gastrointestinal
exactly, stuff like that. But I don't know, people are saying it's related to the same thing that kept him out for almost 15 games back in.
That's not good.
No.
I mean, do you think they put him in the room next to Cassis in the hospital? Yeah. Or do they share a room?
I mean, Cassis should have taken that deal when the Red Sox offered him 2 years ago, but
anyway, that's a topic for another conversation. How's Hauser? How are we thinking about Hauser? Who, by the way, has shot miserably. He starts every series slow.
Here's the thing. The Magic the Magic were trying to take Hauser out of the game. That's literally what they do. Their only plan is to stop what Hauser is best at, which is three. So this is a series where I think, he stays in the game, he'll start to find his rhythm. Mazzulla didn't even play him in the first half.
Yeah.
He comes into the second half and immediately gets that injury, so he doesn't even have a chance to try and get involved.
Right.
And he's one of those guys where, here's the problem. He's one of those guys that if everyone's shooting well, he'll add on to that and make it from a 10-point game to maybe a 15, 16-point game.
Yeah.
He's also one of those guys where if you're struggling, he makes it even worse. He just seems to go with the team. He's not a guy like Derek White that gets
Pritchard,
or Pritchard
can,
that
turn the tide.
He always seems to go with the most of the team is doing for some reason. I don't know why. It's just some correlation that I found that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
Can
we talk a little bit about one of the bright spots I thought so far? I think Jrue Holiday, I think he looks good. I think he is I thought he had a good game.
I have him as my X factor for these playoffs just because I think the way he was guarded in the regular season, almost as if a non-shooter just left him open, dared him to shoot. I mean, fact that teams are saying, you know what, we have no choice but to leave Jrue Holiday open says something about this team. But but still, if Jrue Holiday can get the ball in his hands and basically force people to, because if he has the ball in his hands, you're going to guard him. You're not leaving him open with the ball in his hands. So if you can do that, if basically Joe Mazzulla can say, you know what, Derek White, you're not the main ball handler tonight. Let it be Jayson Tatum and Jrue Holiday as the two main ball handlers.
Well, I also think I thought his D really came through. I felt like he played just good. Like he played like Jaylen Brown level D, kind of just staying in front of the guy, shutting him down, pressuring. I thought it was. I thought he had a quality game.
He had 16 points on 7 of 14 shooting, so not that efficient. He did go 2 of 7 from 3, so I guess that is pretty efficient. You know, he had a lot of free throws as well.
That's basically a 3-point record for last night. But.
Yeah. Him and Derek White. Derek White went 5 of 16 or something.
Yeah.
I
thought he had a good game.
Anunoby.
Huh?
Yeah, Jrue Holiday had a great game. I didn't expect 29 points from OG Anunoby, a guy who's a defensive first guy that just lights up for 6 of 11.
Yeah. I think my both hope and my prediction is last night, today, tomorrow, Joe Mazzulla is just yelling.
Yeah, well.
You know he is.
You would have said in there.
What are you guys doing here?
Yep. Unfortunately, that is not what we got from the press conference today.
Yeah, but I think Joe Mazzulla has he keeps the media arm's length. He is very guarded and very cautious in how he talks to the media. I think behind closed doors, he has much more candid. I mean, I don't know, of course, but I think he's like, hey, when you're doing this, you're killing us. Stop doing that. He doesn't want to expose the players out to the media.
You have to hope so, because some of the things that he said in that round one, where Jayson Tatum went down, Kristaps Porzingis Jrue Holiday got or Kristaps Porzingis went down with that punch in the face. Right, he was yelling at them to get up. I don't know if that was him just like trying to motivate guys, saying like, it's going to be like that. You have to find a way to. Yeah.
Well, I think one of the great things about him, even though he's a young coach, is he's very even keeled, right? He's steady. He knows the plan. He wants to implement the plan and make some changes, but like he's not panicking. I guarantee he's not panicking right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, you can't panic down 0-1 when you have a performance like that. Like now, if it's a more consistent game shooting wise and you still lose the game, yes. But you have to think when you didn't have a single shot contest. Like, I'm being serious. The Knicks tried to do the same exact defense as the Magic did, and the Celtics had 50 of their 63s, 4 feet or more in space.
Yeah. Now, what the silver lining, what the other? Go ahead.
You shoot 2 of those, 2 more of those. You still have a absolute dud of a game, and you're still winning this game by 6.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why I'm not concerned. Like, the title of this video is "Should Celtics fans be concerned?" And after one game and a performance like that, I'm like, no, you can't be after one game.
I would even retitle it, "No, Celtics fans shouldn't be concerned." Yeah. But there is a silver lining for those of us Boston fans in Boston, right, Zach? Which is this is going to force a Game 5 back in Boston. Everybody knows they're going to win it. Everyone's going to want to wait for the next series. So that ticket might be the cheap playoff ticket pick.
That's going to be a really expensive ticket because people are going to buy it now. If they buy it,
I think that's going to be the cheap ticket. Everyone's going to be like, we'll wait for the next series when it's a good game. We know they're going to win this.
Yeah.
I think you'll see like the Pacers. Last year, the Pacers, Those tickets
yeah.
were like cheap because everyone's
Yeah,
like, well, we'll wait for the finals. And then those tickets were crazy expensive.
yeah. Well,
We'll keep an eye on that. We'll have the interns. Hey, keep an eye on ticket prices. I got the interns on it. Don't worry.
what else did I want to talk about in this one?
Yeah.
You know, finding a way to get Kristaps Porzingis more involved. Like a lot of that was just him missing shots tonight, but like you have to find a way because no team has an answer for him when he's on a roll. So like what can you do to get him involved?
It's a great question. I don't know if they need more pick and roll. They need some more alley-oop. Maybe he needs to be hitting those giant giraffe threes he hits. I do think
I mean, he shoots down at the rim. It's actually crazy.
I do, but I think it's something to watch because if we can't get Porzingis going, it changes the way you defend the Celtics.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty I don't want to ever say he's a liability, but it changes a lot.
It's not that he's a liability. It's that you can put a small
Yeah.
guy on him and not or even a bigger guy and not need to worry about him getting scored on so easily. And
Yeah, or you can put a number 3 defender on him and put
Exactly.
your 2 guy on town. You know, Tatum gets a tougher defender, so on and so forth. So, or he gets a bigger guy who makes his life harder, right? So,
yeah.
I think we got to watch it. That's the number one is Tatum bounces back. Number 2 is can Porzingis actually return to form in these playoffs?
Mm-hmm. You know, it has to be a series where he's getting open shots to start with. Because if he's immediately thrown into, he's got to get some simple shots and watch them fall and give him, basically life back into him. Because right now,
confidence.
A little confidence.
It's kind of like, it's maybe a little bit like a quarterback who let's go out and just check down and let's get 3 completions to start the game.
Exactly.
Even if they're for 3-4 yards or a hitter in baseball, like just knock the ball, get some good contact, get a single, get a couple singles, get confidence. I think it's even a veteran like that. I think you're right. Like let's design some plays where he gets to the rim, he has a good 3. Like let's get the giraffe going.
Yeah, because he hasn't been able to take a 3 yet. It's been a lot of grinding in the paint, getting basically hacked. And I'm not calling stuff because it's the playoffs. So I think if he can watch 2 threes go down, then he's gonna find room in the paint to explore that. But you have to start with an open 3, and when nobody's shooting 3s and everyone's contagious with that, didn't look good last night.
Yeah,
he didn't even attempt a 3 last night.
No, that's right.
He took 2 shots.
Well, he might have in the second half, but
yeah, most of those or 2 shots, both of them were the missed bunnies or whatever they had. Just a lot of missed bunnies from the Celtics in the first half. I talked about that on right after the game in the live reaction after the game. Like, just you knew it. I mean, you didn't expect it to be a night like that, but like the fact that the Celtics were up 20 after just the rim had a lid on it or something.
Yeah. But here's the thing: like, even if the Celtics pull it together a little bit better, they're going to beat the Knicks. We're going to get crushed by the Cavs or OKC. With like this team played even a little bit. Pacers.
Even the Pacers, you're going to get destroyed in transition if you can't make a simple basket.
Totally. So even if we make the 20% better, which wins the game by 10 or 12 for us,
exactly,
that is not going to get us where we need to go.
Exactly. And you can't in some of those series. Here, I think this is the last series where you can recover from some of the mistakes that you make. Yeah. Because in a Cavs series, a Pacers series, you're not recovering. You're getting blown out.
No, you're not. You're not going to get an extra out. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna. That's it.
We're at that time where the competition is much harder than it was last year. The Celtics are not the clear heavy favorites. You're not gonna get. You don't get second chances for most of these. What the Celtics have done great, actually, one of the good things I like taking away from this game and the Orlando series is the second chance opportunities, right?
Yeah.
The out rebounding the Knicks 19-12 on offensive rebounds.
Offensive rebounding they've really developed a great
huge
skill.
because even if it's from the wings, so guys like Peyton Pritchard and Holiday in the corners, not your Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown at the top of the key. Just
well,
because,
you see those guys too. If you watch, you'll see them dart in, and try and pick up, steal a rebound.
Well, what they'll try and do is wait for the tall guy to catch it, bring it down, and then they'll try and snatch it from their hands, which is kind of cheeky and smart. But then they sprint and they're at full speed already. So if they miss it, they can just sprint back.
Yeah,
I was watching that Cavs series. The Pacers' first game. On a made basket, the Pacers all 5 of their guys were already up and across half court before the Cavs were even across half court on a made basket. Their ability to get the ball out of the basket, inbound it correctly, and be up the court, let alone if they had missed the shot, was just crazy to watch.
Well, they want to play fast, right? And so it's like,
I really wish the Celtics would play a little bit faster. That's not their style game. You do know the Celtics had a better I think it was they allowed less points per game than OKC
in the season
in terms of points per game, but because of the efficiency, because they took a lot less, there were a lot less possessions.
Fewer,
That's why they had fewer points. But OKC had the slightly better efficiency, but their games were higher because there were so many more possessions.
Yeah,
just interesting.
It's interesting. I want to see how things shake out over the next week, right? Are the Warriors legit? I don't think so, but let's find out.
I think the Wolves are beating the Warriors in 6.
It feels like they should.
The Warriors don't have. The Wolves don't. Some people. The Wolves don't have the Wolves don't have someone to guard both. Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry. 100%. But I think they can slow them down enough, and then you don't have anyone to guard Anthony Edwards if you're the Warriors, because Draymond Green, he's not coming out and guarding Anthony Edwards full on every possession.
Not successfully. Yeah. All right. Final thought.
I think Draymond Green should have won Defensive Player of the Year this year instead of.
Really?
Did you not watch him down the stretch?
He was good.
He was so good down. I don't like Draymond Green either.
Not a fan. I'm just not a fan.
He's one tech away from being ejected again. This play for a game in these playoffs. Yep. After some of this, and he's going against Rudy Gobert. And if we remember from 2 years ago, Draymond Green put him in a headlock.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fight. I think the Wolves should play into that and try and get him to get ejected.
Totally. It's like, when they went
even if you pick up a tech, if Draymond picks up a tech with you, a double tech, that helps you out.
Yeah, totally. So I think it'll be interesting. This is the best part of the basketball season, right? Like everybody who's left can play, right? Like the games should be quality. Like I would argue maybe the Knicks are probably the worst team left in the playoffs. But
the Pacers should be, but I just think it's a matchup problem with the way the Knicks play. And
Pacers are kind of secretly good. Like they were
a great defensive team down the stretch as well.
They're sneaky good.
Knicks
are not sneaky good.
What? The Knicks?
The Knicks are not sneaky good.
You know what you're getting, and if you get that in a performance, maybe you sneak out a win here and there.
Yeah.
I'm just in awe at the fact that you lose by 3 points and you miss 45 threes. Like, how?
It's a big number.
They were up 20 in that first half, but you gotta be disappointed in the Knicks' performance. I know that's biased based on we did just lose and you are now down 1-0, but how did you let a 20-point lead happen in the first place when they weren't shooting threes in the first half, they weren't shooting threes in the second half.
Yeah. Well, look, we got to call it here, but I think game 2. Give me the prediction on game 2. Score and give me this. Give me 2 things. Your prediction score in game 2 and your MVP for game 2.
Okay. The MVP of game 2 is going to be Derek White. He is going to have 25 points. In terms of predictions, I'm thinking the Celtics shoot hopefully 45 less threes, and they make 7 more.
And so the score is what? Final score?
They will win by
how many?
12.
I'm going to go Celtics win by 17, and Tatum is MVP.
You think Tatum? I mean, Tatum still has the lowest, I think lowest plus minus, maybe not.
I think Deuce looks him in the eye and says, "Papa, don't bring that home again." And he goes out and delivers. But that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
He still has 16 rebounds, 5 turnovers. Quickly before I go, I want to talk about just what are we doing with Jaylen Brown having the ball in his hands in the last 5 minutes of the game? Get it out of his hands. Every single time it was a turnover. We saw that last play.
That was a last season play. That's not a this season play.
Bait the foul, and then he gets the ball stolen from him. Mikal Bridges does nothing in the game. Knicks should not have given up 5 picks for him, 5 first-round picks for a guy. He didn't do much in the regular season at all. He's a great, grinded out kind of guy. He works well with the system, but he's not worth 5 first-round picks. And still, you put it in Jaylen Brown's hands. You know what's going to happen every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for tomorrow's game. I think it's going to be fun to watch. We're going to have a very different conversation if we lose.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. I'll tell you that.
Not going to be fun.
But we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow on social media. We will be live after that game, right after the game, around 10 o'clock or wherever the game ends on YouTube. And then you can always catch the post-game shows on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast afterwards. And, until next time, go Celtics.
It's over. Time to say it again, Boston. Anything's possible. Banner number 18 has been secured.